We've seen a lot of movies and heard a lot of stories about criminals finding their way out of prison cells or pulling a Shawshank Redemption and escaping from horrible jails, but here's a new one. There have been a lot of cases when criminals are brought to their trials to make stronger cases for themselves in front of a judge. And instead of doing, well, that, some of the dumb prisoners tend to make a run for it, which we should mention never works out in their favor. Today, we're going to be looking at such cases where prisoners were seen coming to court and making a run to escape from the courthouse. So, without any further ado, let's dive right into it. The judge who chased the escaping inmates himself. Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howard, two minor offenders from Washington State, believed that they could get away from a courthouse by surprising just a few security personnel. What they didn't anticipate was the judge getting up, discarding his black robes like a pro wrestler and getting ready for battle, running out from behind the bench to give pursuit. Now, this is a story of what true bravery and quick thinking looks like. Two cuffed inmates fled from the judge's courtroom in Washington State while wearing robes, and the judge took off his robe to pursue them. Judge R.W. Buzzard can be seen rushing to the door and downstairs on the video obtained by the Daily Chronicle on October 16th, as the males, later identified as Cody Howard, 28, and Tanner Jacobson, 22, flee. While bounding down 4 flights of stairs, Jacobson was in the lead, but just as Howard was about to leave the courthouse, the judge closed in and seized him. In Chehalis, Washington, about 85 miles southwest of Seattle, the Lewis County Courthouse, the authorities claimed that they caught Jacobson. The second-degree escape charge has been brought against both inmates. In the first surveillance video, which is mostly out of focus, one deputy is seen leading 4 inmates out of court. Being last in line, Howard and Jacobson turn around and sprint for the entrance for the general public at the back of the courtroom rather than taking the exit to the right of the judge's seat. Cameras on the stairs demonstrate that Jacobson occasionally took many steps at once. As Howard is ready to enter an open emergency exit door on the ground floor, Buzzard is seen grabbing him before disappearing from view. Several individuals quickly gathered at the site, however, they weren't clearly visible on camera. Sheriff Rob Snaza stated, "These incidents don't happen all that frequently." And not to forget the Gerald Hyde case, a convicted meth addict called Gerald Hyde II, and the world's least attentive guard staged an equally audacious/pointless escape from a Washington state courtroom, proving that there must be something in the water there. A group of inmates was ushered into the next to the courtroom shortly after the day's hearings were completed, presumably to wait for the van that would take them back to jail. A guard, as alert as a tranquilized bear, moved to the opposite side of the room, leaving the courtroom door open. Still restrained with a look on his face that might be interpreted as, "Me? How about I just go out this door that's opening up before me?" Gerald Hyde II walked back through the door saying, "You're wrong, sir." The other inmates pretended not to notice. After the courtroom had cleared out, he sprinted around the halls of the courthouse in his underwear and his bare feet. Even though he looked more like an escaped criminal than any other escaped convict has ever looked in the history of escaped convicts, not a single person confronted him as he exited through the front door. But his cunning didn't last very long, and a few hours after his escape, Hyde II was captured as he tried to hide out in the house of a known acquaintance. Following up, the Leonid Grazer escape. Now this one was both super pathetic and very funny. Court personnel in Moscow plainly took no risks with Leonid Grazer's trial for a murder he said Satan instructed him to commit. The 18-year-old was placed in a reinforced glass enclosure where he was placed with a smug grin about his face, like a movie villain who had willingly allowed himself to be kidnapped. However, his aura of sneaking malice was quickly doused as he attempted to make a break for it, through the roof. He climbed the walls of his improvised cage and pushed through a ceiling panel as a guard sprang up and began thwacking him with a baton. One of the many guards tore Grazer's pants off during the struggle, leading to a delightfully uncomfortable standoff as the naked inmate hung upside down from the ceiling, probably silently reflecting on the decisions that he's made in his life. A few hours later, he returned to his cell and he sat there in his underwear. And then, when he instructed to put his pants back on, he did it, and he just stood there, grinning in what would be called a very wicked manner. He even had blood on his head because of all the struggle, but the man didn't care at all. Jeez, how scary is that? Trying to escape from the courthouse is a pretty idiotic thing to do. What do you think is running through these convicts' heads when they try to escape? Let us know in the comment section. Ted Bundy. Yeah, now this is a case that you might be well aware of if you've seen the Ted Bundy documentaries, but it is a true story. And for those of you who don't know, let's go over it real quick. Bundy was connected to the murder of Karen Campbell in Colorado, according to the evidence uncovered by detectives. A month after the disappearance of Karen Campbell, a 23-year-old nurse, her body was discovered near Snowmass, Colorado, in February 1975. She'd been on vacation with her fiancé at the ski resort. Bundy was arrested and charged with Campbell's first-degree murder. After his arrest in Utah, he was taken to a prison in Aspen, Colorado, where he awaited trial. Since Bundy was permitted to aid in his own defense, he was also entitled to use the law library, which is located on the same floor as the Pitkin County Courthouse. The judge ruled that Bundy didn't need to be restrained in any way, so he was free to enter the courtroom and the law library without having to remove his shoes or shackles. Bundy later explains to Dr. Al Carlisle, his prison psychologist, that he had noticed a number of opportunities to just walk right out over the course of several months. Locked in the law library by sheriff's officers on June 7, 1977, Bundy decided to take his chance. Bundy sprang out of the second-story window and headed for the mountains. 10 minutes went by before anybody even realized that Bundy had gotten away. Each car leaving Aspen was checked by the sheriff's department, which had set up checkpoints at both of the city's entrances. Bundy ran out into the mountains and broke into a cabin, where he hid out for many days. After a while, Bundy strolled back into Aspen, where he took a vehicle that had been left open with the keys inside. On day 6 following his escape, a deputy saw Bundy's erratic driving and pulled him over. Jeez. Moving on, the Hartford Courthouse escape. The defendant, who had fled the courtroom on Lafayette Street in Hartford, had been apprehended by state police. Mariko Ellis, 24, was detained without incident in East Hartford, according to state police. Narcotics paraphernalia, including 2,300 packets of fentanyl and roughly 24 grams of raw fentanyl, were discovered during a search of his residence by state troopers. The official said that earlier, Ellis escaped from court by jumping over several rows of spectator seats. While on the run, the defendant lost both shoes. The next time that anybody saw him, he was on Park Street. The judge reportedly reappeared on the record after Ellis had left the building and ordered many arrests, with bonds totaling close to $2 million. In the end, the court issued 3 felony rearrest warrants with combined $1.8 million bail amounts. There were drones and K-9 teams involved in the hunt, so looks like luck really wasn't on his side. Well, somebody has got to give him 10 points for dedication and for trying, even if he was doing something super idiotic and illegal, like running away from the court. Like, man, why would you even pull a stunt like that and end up with a bigger punishment than what you originally had? All of these people are pretty impulsive, and they never bother checking their, risks clearly. Maybe someone needs to sit these people down and tell them that not every escape attempt is as successful as Shawshank's Redemption. Maybe then these criminals will try to understand that escaping and failing only leaves them in a much more miserable position. New charges have been brought out against a prisoner who broke out of the Spokane County Courthouse. According to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, Alex J. Hegland, 38, was scheduled to appear in court on 2 misdemeanor charges on Tuesday. He allegedly fled the courtroom in the building, according to the deputies, but was apprehended in less than 30 minutes. The Spokane Police Department's drone team and a K-9 were used by the SCSO to put up a perimeter and track Hegland. Hegland was located in a backyard on West Dean by K-9 Jagger. He was returned to the Spokane jail on a second-degree escape felony charge. He's still charged with driving while intoxicated and careless driving, both misdemeanors. The prisoner has been caught by a K-9 team before. The K-9 unit located him, evading capture in Spokane Valley on December 2017. Maybe next time he tries to make a run, he'll come up with a better place to hide than someone's backyard. Even kids who play hide and seek would agree that a backyard is a terrible, terrible place to hide. All of these courtroom escape plans, and we can say that the criminals are getting smarter and smarter with each passing day. If you like this video, then click the like and the bell buttons. Click them, please. Yeah, whatever. We have another video coming for you soon, and yeah, take care until then.